On June 21, 2022, Dr. Melanie Casper, a dedicated anesthesiologist, sought relief from dehydration at her Dallas home. She administered an IV bag she had brought from the surgical center where she worked. Shortly after, she experienced a sudden and fatal heart attack. The medical community was left in shock, struggling to understand how such a tragedy could befall a healthy and compassionate physician. As the investigation unfolded, it was revealed that the IV bag Dr. Casper used had been tampered with, containing lethal substances. Suspicion fell upon her colleague, Dr. Reinaldo Rivera Ortiz Jr., who was later convicted of injecting dangerous drugs into IV bags at the facility. This act not only led to Dr. Casper's untimely death, but also caused multiple cardiac emergencies among patients undergoing routine procedures. The betrayal within the trusted walls of the medical community sent ripples of fear and disbelief among healthcare professionals and patients alike. Dr. Casper's husband, John, who witnessed her sudden collapse, was left grappling with the devastating loss and the horrifying revelation of the betrayal that led to her death. This tragic case serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities that exist even in professions dedicated to healing and care. The loss of Dr. Casper is deeply felt, and her memory continues to be honored by those who knew her as a compassionate doctor and a generous friend. Following Dr. Melanie Casper's sudden death on June 21, 2022, her husband, John Casper, was left grappling with the inexplicable loss of his healthy wife. She had administered an IV bag at home to alleviate dehydration, a routine practice for her. The unexpected fatal outcome raised immediate concerns. Medical examiners conducted a thorough autopsy, revealing the presence of bupivacaine, a potent local anesthetic not intended for intravenous use, in her system. This finding was perplexing, as Dr. Casper had no medical indication for bupivacaine administration. Concurrently, Baylor Scott and White Surgicare in North Dallas, where Dr. Casper practiced, experienced an alarming increase in patient complications during routine surgeries. Between May and August 2022, there were 14 emergency transfers, a significant rise from the previous year's 5. Surveillance footage became pivotal in the investigation. It captured Dr. Reinaldo Ortiz, a fellow anesthesiologist, repeatedly accessing the facility's IV bag warming drawer under suspicious circumstances. He was seen placing IV bags into the warmer and then quickly exiting the area. Further forensic analysis of the IV bags revealed puncture marks consistent with needle injections. Tests confirmed the presence of bupivacaine and other drugs in several bags, directly linking them to the adverse patient events and Dr. Casper's death. Medical experts explained that bupivacaine, when introduced intravenously, can induce severe cardiotoxic effects, leading to sudden cardiac arrest. Its detection in multiple compromised IV bags indicated deliberate tampering. Investigators uncovered that Dr. Ortiz had a history of disciplinary actions and was under scrutiny for prior medical incidents. This context provided a potential motive for his actions, suggesting a retaliatory intent against the medical facility. After an 8-day trial, Dr. Reinaldo Rivera Ortiz Jr. was convicted on multiple counts, including 4 counts of tampering with consumer products, resulting in serious bodily injury, 1 count of tampering with a consumer product, and 5 counts of intentional adulteration of a drug. On November 20, 2024, Chief U.S. District Judge Barbara M.G. Lynn sentenced Dr. Ortiz to 190 years in federal prison, effectively ensuring he spends the remainder of his life incarcerated. While evidence suggested that Dr. Ortiz's actions were in retaliation for disciplinary proceedings against him, the depth of his malice and willingness to endanger colleagues and patients remained difficult to comprehend fully. Although 11 incidents were identified, questions linger about whether there were additional, undetected cases of IV bag tampering that may have caused unexplained complications or deaths. The case has prompted a re-evaluation of safety protocols in medical facilities nationwide. Discussions continue regarding the implementation of more stringent monitoring and security measures to prevent similar incidents in the future. During the trial, John Casper, the husband of Dr. Melanie Casper, recounted the harrowing moments leading to his wife's death. He described how Dr. Casper, feeling unwell, administered an IV at home, only to collapse shortly after. Despite his desperate attempts to revive her, she did not survive. In his impact statement, John Casper expressed profound grief and anger, stating, "He killed my wife. It wasn't through malice. It was through pure calculation." Dr. Casper was remembered by colleagues as a compassionate and dedicated physician who had a unique ability to put patients at ease and calm their fears. Her untimely death left a void in the medical community, shaking the trust and camaraderie among healthcare professionals. The betrayal by a fellow physician not only caused emotional turmoil, but also prompted a reevaluation of safety protocols within medical facilities, highlighting the profound impact on both personal and professional levels. How does this case change your perception of safety and trust within the medical profession? Do you believe justice was served in this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. What steps do you think should be taken to prevent such tragedies from happening in the future? If you found this story compelling and want to uncover more cases that explore trust, betrayal, and the complexities of human behavior, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for our next gripping episode. Your support helps us continue to bring these stories to light. Don't forget to like and share this video to join the conversation. In this case, we uncovered the tragic loss of Dr. Melanie Casper, a compassionate physician whose life was cut short in an unimaginable act of betrayal. From the alarming incidents of cardiac emergencies at Baylor Scott and White Surgicare, to the meticulous investigation that exposed Dr. Reynaldo Rivera Ortiz Jr.'s actions, this story highlights the devastating consequences of broken trust within the medical community. Justice was served with Ortiz's conviction, but the emotional scars remain for those affected. Thought-provoking statement. Dr. Melanie Casper's story is a sobering reminder that even in spaces built on care and trust, betrayal can find its way. It raises the question, how do we safeguard the very institutions meant to protect and heal us? On February 12, 2016, 19-year-old Morgan Bauer left her hometown in South Dakota, seeking a fresh start in Atlanta, Georgia. With dreams and aspirations, she chronicled her journey on social media, sharing her excitement and hope for the future. But just 10 days later, on February 22nd, all communication from Morgan ceased. Her phone went silent, her social media accounts inactive. Friends and family were left in a state of confusion and fear. What happened to Morgan Bauer? As days turned into weeks, and weeks into years, the search for Morgan yielded few answers. The case went cold, leaving a void in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. But in July 2023, a breakthrough emerged. The FBI, acting on credible information, executed a search warrant at a residence in Porterdale, Georgia. The search led to the arrest of two individuals, Jonathan Alexander Warren and Caitlin Goebel. Warren was charged with malice murder, tampering with evidence, concealing the death of another, and necrophilia. Goebel faced charges of concealing a death and tampering with evidence. In January 2024, Warren pleaded guilty to the charges and was sentenced to life without parole. Goebel's case remains pending. Despite these developments, many questions linger. What led Morgan to that house in Porterdale? How did her path cross with Warren and Goebel? And most hauntingly, why did her life come to such a tragic end? As we delve into the details of this case, we aim to shed light on the circumstances surrounding Morgan Bauer's disappearance and the shocking truths that have since been uncovered. Morgan Bauer was a young woman full of promise. Born and raised in South Dakota, she dreamed of something bigger than the small-town life she had always known. From a young age, Morgan exhibited a sense of adventure and a desire to explore life beyond the familiar. Her family remembers her as a vibrant, free-spirited individual, someone who would jump at any opportunity to experience something new. Her eyes always sparkled when she talked about her dreams, her mother recalled in an interview. She wanted to see the world, to be something bigger than what was in front of her. At just 19 years old, Morgan made the bold decision to leave her hometown and head for Atlanta, Georgia. Like many young people her age, she was chasing the promise of a new life, one filled with possibilities. But when she arrived in the bustling city, the reality of living on her own quickly set in. Morgan struggled. The excitement of her new chapter in life was quickly overshadowed by the harsh realities of trying to make it in a big city. With no family nearby and few friends, Morgan found herself couch surfing, trying to find her footing in a city that wasn't as welcoming as she had hoped. Despite these challenges, Morgan remained determined. She took on a series of odd jobs, from working as a waitress to doing gigs at local bars. Through it all, her resilience shone through. She never gave up on her dream of building a better future. Determined to establish herself, Morgan found temporary lodging in various motels and secured employment as an exotic dancer in Gainesville, a city northeast of Atlanta. She was last seen on February 25, 2016, performing at a club on Cheshire Bridge Road in Atlanta. After that night, all communication from Morgan ceased. Her phone went silent, and her social media activity stopped abruptly. Her mother, Sherry, grew increasingly concerned as days turned into weeks without any word from her daughter. In the ensuing years, Sherry tirelessly searched for answers, offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to Morgan's whereabouts. Despite the efforts of law enforcement and the support of over 12,000 people in the Missing Morgan Facebook group, the case remained unsolved. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Morgan had been updating her social media accounts, posting pictures of the city and sharing her experiences. She was excited about a new job she had recently started and was hopeful that things were starting to look up. "It's not easy, but I'm taking it one day at a time," she posted just days before everything went silent. But something was wrong. Just days after her hopeful posts, Morgan stopped responding to messages. Her phone was turned off, and her social media accounts went dormant. Her friends and family, initially giving her space, soon realized that something wasn't right. Morgan's family began to panic when they could no longer reach her. Her mother, who had always been in close contact with her daughter, frantically tried calling, texting, and reaching out to her friends in Atlanta, but there was no response. No one had seen or heard from Morgan since February 22, 2016, when she last updated her Instagram story, saying she was starting her day at work. "We thought maybe she was just caught up in work, or maybe overwhelmed, but as the days turned into a week, then two, we started to fear the worst." At the home of Jonathan Alexander Warren, a man with a criminal history, authorities uncovered evidence that tied him to Morgan's disappearance. Warren, along with his accomplice Caitlin Goebel, were arrested, with Warren facing a string of serious charges including malice murder, tampering with evidence, and necrophilia. As investigators pieced together the clues, a chilling portrait began to emerge. Warren, a man Morgan had come into contact with during her time in Atlanta, had been hiding in plain sight. At the time of Morgan's disappearance, he was living in the same area where she had worked, and it turned out that he had become obsessed with her. What made the case even more haunting was the discovery of Warren's past. He had been involved in several other criminal activities, some of which eerily mirrored the circumstances surrounding Morgan's death. Authorities soon realized that the man they were looking for had been right under their noses all along. Caitlin Goebel, a woman close to Warren, was also implicated in the crime, accused of helping him conceal Morgan's body and tamper with evidence. While her involvement in the murder is still a matter of ongoing investigation, her connection to Warren seemed to suggest that she had played a key role in keeping the truth hidden. The pieces of the puzzle slowly came together. Morgan had been lured into Warren's home, where she was murdered. Authorities revealed that Morgan's body had been hidden for months before it was discovered. But what was even more disturbing was the revelation that Warren had taken steps to cover his tracks, including tampering with physical evidence and lying to investigators. Yet, the true motive behind Warren's actions remains unclear. Why Morgan? Was it the result of obsession or something darker? And what did Caitlin Goebel know, and how deep was her involvement? As the investigation unfolds, the pieces of Morgan's tragic story continue to reveal themselves in shocking detail, with more questions than answers remaining. In January 2024, a significant development emerged in Morgan Bauer's case. Jonathan Alexander Warren was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after pleading guilty to malice murder, necrophilia, concealing the death of another, and tampering with evidence. This conviction provided a measure of closure to Morgan's family and friends, who had endured years of uncertainty and grief. Lingering mysteries. Despite the conviction, several questions remain unanswered. The exact circumstances leading to Morgan's death are still shrouded in mystery. Details about how she encountered Warren and the events that transpired remain unclear. Additionally, the involvement of other individuals has been suggested, but no further arrests have been made. These lingering uncertainties continue to haunt those who seek the full truth behind Morgan Bauer's tragic end. Morgan Bauer wasn't just a missing person. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend. To her family, she was everything. For her mother, Sherry Sichmeller, the anguish of not knowing where her daughter was or what had happened to her became an unbearable weight, one she carried every single day. The screen darkens as soft piano music begins to play. A voiceover narrates excerpts from letters Sherry wrote to Morgan over the years. "Dear Morgan, every single day without you feels like an eternity. I wake up praying that today will be the day we hear your voice again, the day we see your smile. Wherever you are, please know that I love you more than words can express, and I will never stop searching for you. You're my heart, my baby girl, and I'll bring you home no matter how long it takes." What do you believe happened to Morgan Bauer? Could there still be someone out there with answers? Do you think more can be done to protect vulnerable young women in similar situations? If you believe in bringing awareness to cases like Morgan's, hit the like button and share this video. Together, we can keep her story alive. For more true crime stories, unsolved mysteries, and the pursuit of justice, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next chapter in this unfolding story. Morgan Bauer set out to create a better life for herself, but her story became one of heartbreak and unanswered questions. Despite years of searching, her family still holds on to hope. Morgan's case highlights the risks faced by young women seeking independence, but it also reminds us of the strength and perseverance of those who refuse to give up on their loved ones. Tease for next video. Next week, we'll unravel a chilling case where a decades-old family secret brought everything crumbling down. You won't want to miss it. Subscribe and join us as we continue to explore the untold stories that shake the foundations of trust.